These are my first impressions of Nioh 3. Not a definitive review or a final verdict, just me talking about what really clicked and what didn't, and why this game has me in a full-on chokehold already.
Nani?
I think this might be the best Nioh game I've ever played, but I'll revisit that statement once the DLC cycle is done. It genuinely feels like Team Ninja took everything that I liked about Nioh 2, which has been my definitive Nioh game up until now, and just cranked it to 11. Also, you know how some games with cult followings are basically made only for existing fans? Like they serve the faithful perfectly but do absolutely nothing to bring new people in? Well, I don't think Nioh 3 is that. I actually think this could be a really strong entry point into whatever the hell we're calling these now. Nioh likes? Are we really doing that? Alright, this is Nioh 3. Let's talk about it. Right after you start, the game throws you into the character creator. And it's basically the same one we've seen in Nioh 2, Wulong and Rise of the Ronin. Same haircuts, same facial hair, same accessories, but somehow it's worse. I tried to make a good-looking female character from scratch. You know, something pleasant to look at. And no matter what I did, I kept ending up with a Giga Chad. I don't know if it's just me or if the presets now have some pre-baked facial features you simply can't get rid of, no matter how hard you move the sliders around. At some point I gave up and picked the very first preset, tweaked it a bit, and now my character looks like Japanese Kate from Fallout 4. Acceptable.
Oh sure, make me carry more of your junk.
In Nioh 3 your character has two forms, Samurai and Ninja, and you can customize their looks separately, it's pretty cool. Unfortunately you can't make a male Samurai and a female Ninja or the other way around and basically get to create two completely different characters. I mean, it makes sense, this is still one character just switching disciplines. I just wish there was an option to do that for an extra RP layer of freedom, but hey, we'll just wait for a mod, eh? A bit later in the game you unlock a mirror that lets you completely change your appearance, so if you botched it at the start, worry not, nothing's permanent. Combat has always been the reason I play Nioh games, and Nioh 3 feels like it's walking a very deliberate line between comfort and evolution. Two combat forms this time, Samurai and Ninja. Samurai is pure classic Nioh, 3 stances, high, mid and low, each with their own movesets and rhythms. It felt like hearing a band you grew up with and haven't listened to in 10 years. Your brain barely remembers it, but your hands still do. Ninja form has one stance and is very nimble, very fast for more aggressive gameplay. You get access to ninjutsu skills like kunai, bombs and traps, and these are now replenished by themselves instead of being fixed, finite consumables. No need to hoard those bombs anymore. What I liked most is that the game never forced me into one form. I naturally gravitated towards Samurai, switching to Ninja when I just wanted to finish someone off from range or use that mid-air dash when jumping ledges. Burst attacks, the red glow ones, can now be countered with a timed form swap, but even then I would just switch back to my preferred form and keep going. And even better, at some point in the game I started switching preemptively as soon as I saw the red attack coming, to then counter it to get back to Samurai. It kinda became second nature for me. You can absolutely stick to one form for the most of your playthrough and have a great time. They're both viable, and when I jumped into co-op with my mate, we decided to split roles. Him permanently ninja, laying traps and picking off trash mobs, and me tanking and anchoring bosses or bigger enemies as Samurai. And I really appreciate that. It never feels like an obligation, and forms are there to expand what you can do, not dictate how you have to play the damn thing. Another thing I appreciate about Nioh games is just how deep the character progression goes, and Nioh 3 is absolutely no different. If you want to fine-tune every microscopic detail about your build, the game will let you. The amount of stuff you can tweak is ridiculous. It's just constantly overwhelming.
Are you alright?
Overwhelmed. You've got your base stats when you level up, and then Samurai Ninja locks to feed into weapon and utility skill trees, passive nodes, cores, titles, Kodama blessings, Jizo blessings, and of course equipment. The amount of gear this game throws at you is borderline aggressive. I completely understand a lot of players calling it loot diarrhea. It's a lot. It's always been a lot. And I'm not exactly in love with it either. Part of me hoped they'd dial it back in Nioh 3, but at this point, 3 games in, it's clear this is just part of the Nioh identity that needs to be accepted.
Oh sure, make me carry more of your junk.
For my first playthrough, I keep it simple. I equip whatever has the highest base stats, and I'm doing just fine. Once in a while I stop at a shrine, swap out gear, dump the rest, and move on. I don't let the spreadsheets of special effects intimidate me. No. Loadouts, yeah, scratch that, it's a future me problem. That's how I played Nioh 1, Nioh 2, Wulong and Ronin, and I survived. At no point in my 30-something hour playthrough did I think, oh, I need that 1.5% key regeneration boost to win this fight. It's like all the depth is there if you want it, but if you don't, especially on the first run, the game doesn't punish you for ignoring it. It's overwhelming, yes, but it's optional overwhelm.
What happened?
Overwhelmed. One of the biggest changes in Nioh 3 is the shift to open world. Open field? Open field. Somebody coined the term semi-open world, and that's what I think it is. It feels like lots of maps from Nioh 2 connected together with like corridors and transitions. Some areas also feel like corridors, some are more open field, and I really like the way it is. Every area of the map has its unique flavor to it, not different biomes or anything, but it all fits the same thematic palette, just distinct enough. Exploration is genuinely fun. I usually open the map, mark a point of interest and just go there. You've got enemy camps, lost Kodama boys and Shijiko ferrets and lesser crucibles to clear. And it's really nice that some of those points of interest are not as easy to get to as you might think. Some parts of the map will be locked off from the get-go and you'll need to find an alternative route to get there. Sometimes you'll be standing on the Kodama marker looking around like a buffoon until you realize it's hiding in a little secret area behind an illusory wall or a bunch of crates. Some of them feel like light environmental mini puzzles and it's super fun. Also, every area of the map has a recommended level. That means every enemy in that area is also locked to a certain level, which is very nice. It's much better than level scaling everyone just puts in their open world games to make you play forever. However, there's a flip side to that too, because I couldn't stop collecting ferrets and Kodama and just generally trying to clear every area before moving on to the next one. At one point I became quite over-leveled, so when I decided to get back to the main story I was like 10-15 levels ahead. And we don't want a Nioh power fantasy game, right? We want to suffer. We want it to be masocore action RPG. It's supposed to hurt. So yeah, it's worth keeping in mind and watching your level.
You got that?
That naturally leads us straight into difficulty. Nioh 3 feels like the easiest game in the series so far, most of it due to its open world nature where you can get over leveled easily. But even when I tried to pace myself and progress quote unquote naturally, it still felt more forgiving than previous entries. Now, I've played a lot of Nioh in the past, and key pulse is second nature to me at this point. It's tattooed into my brain. I key pulse in games that don't even have a stamina system, so maybe some of that ease is experience talking. But don't get me wrong, Nioh 3 can still be rough and slap you around and make you want to pull your arse hairs like a madman, but I haven't felt anything close to the wall that was Yatsu no Kami in Nioh 2, when I was just beating my head against the table, completely losing my mind. Anyway, Nioh 3 feels much easier, and that's why in the beginning I said it's a perfect entry point for new players. It lets you spend more time in lower level areas and gear up and unlock more skills for your preferred weapons, try different weapons, and on top of that, Nioh 3's got one of the best co-op systems in Souls-likes. Souls-likes? Nioh-likes? Fuck. I really want to talk about co-op in Nioh 3, and I feel like it deserves a separate chapter here, not just a mention because of how damn good it is. You know how co-op in some Souls-likes is just unnecessarily complicated? Like there's always a catch, an item you need to use, an area you have to clear first, some arbitrary restriction that defeats the whole point of asking a mate to help you with a particularly miserable boss. Here's just plug and play. Open the co-op menu, expeditions, password, boom, you're together, and you can play the whole thing from start to finish, cutscenes and all. Progress carries over. If you've already cleared collectibles in your world, they won't appear when you join someone else. What you accomplish as a guest counts for you too. It's just perfection.
Perfection.
Loot is separate as well. If I see something on the ground, my mate doesn't, and vice versa. No fighting over loot. Thank goodness, because I'm not fighting that. There's also this bar that drains when one of you dies. When someone goes down, a timer starts, and the faster you revive them, the less of the bar you lose. If you drain it completely, you can't revive each other anymore, and if both of you die, you simply respawn at the last shrine. This bar is a very good system, and it's made so you won't just keep reviving each other endlessly during a boss fight. It's easily one of the smoothest co-op implementations in the genre, on par with Remnant 2, and I wish more Souls-likes would do that. That said, it does make a game a lot easier. Like most games of this subgenre, bosses are designed primarily for solo play and can only fully focus on one target at a time, though some of them have wide sweeping attacks to compensate, so you're not completely safe when hitting from behind, but having another player still shifts the pressure dramatically. And I'll take that trade. If the co-op is seamless, I'm not complaining. And if you've been hesitating because you're not sure Nioh is quote-unquote for you, this might be the point that changes that. Quick word about visuals before the most important part of this video, PC performance. It is defo a step up from Nioh 2 in terms of raw fidelity, and artistically it's unmistakably Nioh. The color palettes and the environments, the enemy design, it's very cohesive and it knows what it is. It's beautiful with an asterisk. Some areas though are extremely dark, and I couldn't find a proper in-game way to address that beyond cranking gamma, which never looks right, and there's no torch mechanic, no proper lighting adjustment system, so you just have to deal with it, I guess. Other than that, no real complaints. Nioh 3 looks like a Nioh game. That being said, it doesn't look good enough to justify the performance hiccups. To be fair, this is already a better PC port than Wulong or Ronin, which are still abysmal to this day.
Now just stop it upsets me.
There are plenty of graphic sliders to tweak, but I still wouldn't call it a good port. So my situation is a bit unusual because I played the game on 2 different setups. On my old specs, I struggled. Lowering global illumination helped a lot. Whatever lighting system they're using is clearly very performance heavy, but I was still hovering under 60 FPS most of the time, and 60 is still my baseline, kind of my golden standard. With my new hardware, it's significantly better, and if that had been my only experience, I'd probably say it runs well most of the time. The only thing that bothers me now is that the game sometimes slows down to keep the FPS steady. Everything just goes slow-mo for a few seconds and then back to normal. But comparing both setups and considering my old rig isn't exactly ancient, I think it's safe to say that this game still needs optimization patches, a lot of them. And knowing Koei Tecmo's track record with PC support, it's a bit worrying. Nioh is one of their flagship franchises though, so hopefully this time it gets the attention it deserves. Bottom line, if your setup is similar to my old one, you'll be fine by lowering all the settings, but your game that does look like a game from 2012 to begin with will absolutely look like soapy dog vomit.
I don't like that kind of talk.
And for a game that doesn't actually push graphical boundaries, all this is really hard to ignore. Overall, I'm genuinely happy with Nioh 3. This feels like a game I'll sink hundreds of hours into, the kind where eventually all those absurd special stats actually start to matter. The systems are deep, the combat clicks, and the co-op is balls to the wall fantastic. Upgrading my hardware right after launch definitely felt like activating a cheat code, but even with that I can't ignore the fact that the PC version still needs work. Hopefully it gets patches it deserves. As for me, I'm not done with this game, and you can expect more Nioh 3 on the channel, and with the new rig I'm even more excited to cover things like Crimson Desert and Resident Evil 9 when the time comes. So if you're playing Nioh 3, let me know how it's treating you, and if you're new here, hit subscribe. That's it, thank you for your time, see you in the next one.